Today, Bitcoin drops to the $66,000 level. Ripple launches a new fund to boost blockchain innovation in Japan and South Korea. And Elliot Chun of Architect Partners explains why the Robinhood Bitstamp deal is good for the crypto industry. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Major cryptocurrencies in the red this morning as all eyes are on the Federal Reserve's next rate decision. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin dropped 5.5% to the $66,000 level, Ether sank nearly 7% to the $3,400 level, and Polygon's Matic token fell more than 4.5%. Just like stock market investors, crypto investors are watching the Fed and its decision on rates tomorrow afternoon. It's widely expected that the Fed will keep rates unchanged, but Wall Street is waiting for more clues on whether the central bank appears likely to cut rates in the upcoming months. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. The Securities and Exchange Commission is now considering a spot Ether ETF from ProShares. That's according to this filing yesterday, showing that ProShares is entering the spot Ether ETF race nearly 3 weeks after the SEC approved a rule change that would pave the way for ETFs that buy and hold Ether. Specifically, on May 23rd, the SEC approved VanEck's 19B4 filing for a spot Ether ETF, along with 7 others, including BlackRock's and Fidelity's. But the SEC still needs to greenlight each ETF's S1 filing to begin trading. Now, the development came less than 6 months after the SEC approved spot Bitcoin ETFs, which have proven to be a big success for the industry. ProShares does not currently offer a spot Bitcoin ETF in the US, but the asset manager offers ETFs that track Bitcoin and Ether futures. We reached out to ProShares about the spot Ether ETF development, and a spokesperson told us the asset manager declines to comment beyond the filing. Next, today Ripple said it launched a Japan and Korea fund with the goal of driving innovation on the XRP ledger in the two markets. That ledger is an open-source public blockchain built for corporations. The move also signifies the blockchain firm's effort to expand its presence in Asia-Pacific, one of its fastest-growing regions. In a statement, Ripple's Vice President of Strategic Initiatives said, "The launch of the fund is a, quote, testament to Ripple's strong belief in the potential of Japan and Korea as pivotal regional hubs for blockchain innovation." Ripple said the funds will go toward supporting corporate partnerships, developer grants, startup investments, and community growth. The expansion comes as the crypto industry faces a hostile regulatory environment in the U.S., according to Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Last, the Federal Trade Commission is warning consumers about romance scams involving crypto. The warning issued yesterday notes that some victims have lost millions of dollars from these scams. The FTC says typically scammers send random social media messages to their victims and over time builds enough trust to have the victims send money under the impression that the funds would be used for investing purposes. In the warning, the FTC stressed that if someone you meet online says they want to help you invest in cryptocurrency, it's an investment scam. Now, the notice says that crypto is one way the scammers try to get money from victims, but that they might also ask for gift cards or payments via apps like Zelle and PayPal. This is the second time the Commission warned of crypto-related scams this month, usually stemming from random messages from unknown numbers. All right, for our main story, Architect Partners, an M&A and financing advisor for crypto companies, recently released a note on M&A activity for crypto public companies. That includes last week's announcement from Robinhood that the trading platform has agreed to buy the crypto exchange Bitstamp for around $200 million in cash. I spoke with Elliot Chun of Architect Partners about his latest notes and why he thinks the acquisition is a good sign for the crypto industry. Your latest note calls the Robinhood Bitstamp deal an important marker of the current market and says Robinhood's acquisition of Bitstamp shows valuations have, quote, right-sized again. Why do you think valuations have come back to earth?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, just from a macro perspective, all valuations have become more reasonable. I think in the 2020, 2021 timeframe, we were living in kind of a euphoric environment, particularly for valuation. There were a number of reasons why you saw rounds go higher. You had a lot of market participants that wanted to get involved in the crypto industry, putting capital in when maybe they weren't 100% focused on it. So investing discipline may have been, could have been a little bit better. And so that led to a series of valuations that were, we'll call it inflated now that we get to look back. And with the Robinhood acquisition of Bitstamp, it really helps us reset the market to what we are finding today for market clearing prices.
So overall, why do you think Robinhood's acquisition of Bitstamp is a good sign for the crypto industry?
Yeah, one of the most important reasons is what we call bridge transactions. That's when a traditional company acquires a crypto native business. It's really important for our industry. When I say our industry, crypto, it's important for us to have adoption from others than just the crypto natives. We're not going to have too much success as an industry if we are only playing with ourselves. And so with Robinhood, we have a traditional publicly traded company, although they are skewing towards more the innovation side, that is acquiring Bitstamp, which has long been a 10 plus year track record, has a really good reputation of following the regulatory landscape and frameworks. They have one of the more robust regulatory licensing regimes. And Robinhood is now gets the opportunity to grow their crypto business, which in Q1 was reported to be about 20% of their revenues. Now they get to apply that playbook from a global perspective.
And the acquisition was announced last week, about a month after Robinhood disclosed that the SEC had sent it a Wells notice and warned that upon completion of an investigation, the trading platform could be charged over its crypto operations. Your latest note also emphasized that the deal with Bitstamp would expand Robinhood's global reach, as you just noted, and would ensure its global participation in crypto trading at a time when its crypto division is under scrutiny by the SEC. Do you think Robinhood's move to acquire an international crypto exchange was strategic, especially given the timing just weeks after the trading platform got that Wells notice?
Yeah, it's fascinating the way Robinhood's last 31 days has played out. They got the Wells notice shortly after they announced a staking product in Europe, which we all know staking has been controversial from a regulatory perspective here in the US. Then they announced record revenues for crypto in the US, and then they announced the acquisition of Bitstamp. To us, this is behavior of a company that may not be too intimidated by the SEC and the Wells notice that they received. We hope that this is in line with the improving US regulatory political environment. We've always lived in a hostile environment. If our industry gets anywhere close to neutral, or dare I say even positive, I think it'll be a very transformative tailwind to how our industry operates. So there have been many on your show that have been talking about the SEC and the current stance. Robinhood's move could be an indication that publicly traded companies here in the US have confidence that crypto as a business has strong prospects going forward, particularly from a regulatory environment.
Interesting. Now, Architect Partners is an M&A and financing advisor for crypto companies. And you also put out a note last week providing a snapshot on crypto public companies. In it, you point out that the last 2 weeks saw, quote, meaningful M&A activity for crypto public companies. According to Architect Partners, crypto M&A activity is experiencing a rapidly increasing pace. Over the last 2 years, there was $1.2 billion in total announced consideration. In the last 2 weeks alone, you note that there was $2.3 billion in total announced consideration. And we talked about the Robinhood Bitstamp deal, but what other recent potential deals in the crypto space have you been paying attention to? We've seen a couple involving Bitcoin miners, which were rejected. What does that signal to you?
Yeah, well, the signal, you said it best. I mean, talk about total consideration paid. We talked about valuation earlier. We have not been in this market environment where we've been seeing this type of activity for 2 years, for 24 months. That's a long time. And when you think about the last 2 weeks with 4 M&A transactions that have been announced, it gets us really excited. And it gets us excited. One, there are a few strategic themes at play. We talked about Robinhood acquiring Bitstamp, bridge transactions. A second theme here is crypto businesses bolstering their comprehensive services. And so for Bitdeer, they had acquired an ASIC chip designer called DesiWe Miner. That's an example of a crypto business really trying to become vertically integrated in the value proposition that they provide to the market. A third theme playing out is building a category leader. And when you look at Riot's proposed acquisition of Bitfarms, the whole thesis is how can that combined entity become the largest publicly traded Bitcoin miner? That's a significant statement, and that's attractive for a number of different reasons, particularly post fourth halving. And then finally, the last theme, it's a little bit buzzy, but it is the AI and crypto theme, where CoreWeave, which is an AI-focused platform, privately held, proposed a combination with Core Scientific. And so a lot of groups are saying, well, how can AI and crypto play together? This is in motion. And again, they rejected that one, but it is a real sign of M&A activity for particular themes playing out. And one thing to note, that CoreWeave and Core Scientific, the consideration announced was $1 billion. And in December of 2022, Core Scientific was going through a bankruptcy process. So a really remarkable turnaround for that organization, and a good indicator of the growth of Bitcoin mining, particularly in publicly traded companies.
Now, Chun also provided his outlook for crypto M&A activity and discussed whether the momentum we have been seeing over the past 2 weeks will continue. You can check out the full interview over at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. Okay, that's all for today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.